Coliseum in Hamilton. The Labatt Canada Cup. Tonight, the United States and Canada. There are only 2 unbeaten teams left in this tournament. In about 3 hours' time, that will likely not be the case as these 2 meet tonight. And it will be like old home week for the players. All but one makes his living in the NHL. 1 game played in Canada Cup action this afternoon. The Swedes blanked Czechoslovakia, so as we look at the standings, they are now tied with the U.S. for first place, although their record is not quite as good. Canada is in 3rd place. Our analyst tonight, Brad Park.
Tonight, we've got a classic matchup between the boys from south of the border against the boys from the north of the border. The U.S. has been impressive. Team Canada has not been. Look for goaltending. Both goaltenders are capable of winning the game all by themselves, but the special teams will break this game open when it comes down to the 3rd period. Ron Rouge and Dan Kelly.
Okay, Brad, you know Bob Johnson talks about defense. When he coached Calgary and had good success against Edmonton, he had 2 big center icemen, Joel Otto and Kerry Wilson, to take care of the Messiers and the Gretzkys. Tonight he's got to worry about Messier, Gretzky, plus Howard, Chuck, plus Lemieux, and he's only got 1 big center, Joel Otto. That may be a big problem. Ron Rouge?
Well, I don't think it's much of a secret that Team Canada hasn't played very well so far in this tournament. They're going to have to turn it on tonight or find themselves in a bit of a hole, because there's one thing is very clear. The United States is playing well. They've got defense and goaltending going for them.
Perfect day for it. Yep.
"50 years ago, Air Canada started out with 1 small plane and 1 huge country. The obstacles that faced our pioneers were as imposing as the land itself. But the demands of the country stretched our knowledge, our wings, and our imagination. Today, Air Canada has earned its reputation as a world-class airline. But that hasn't made us complacent. We'll still be reaching for the moon and the stars tomorrow. And we invite all Canadians of vision to join us.
The officials for tonight's game.
Welcome back to the Cops Coliseum in Hamilton, Ontario. Team Canada and the United States. Now let's go to the ice surface and our opening ceremonies.
The linesmen, les juges de ligne des États-Unis. From the United States, Mr. Kevin Collins. Du Canada, from Canada, Mr. John D'Amico. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the lineups for tonight's game. Mesdames et messieurs, l'alignement débutant pour les matchs de ce soir. For Team USA, pour l'équipe des États-Unis. In goals, dans les filets. Number 34, numéro 34, John Van Beesbrook. À la défense, en défense. Number 4, numéro 4, Kevin Hatcher. Number 5, le numéro 5, Rod Langway. Au centre, at center, number 21, le numéro 21, Bob Carpenter. At right wing, à l'aile droite, number 26, numéro 26, Ed Olchuk. At left wing, à l'aile gauche, number 29, numéro 29, Joel Otto. The head coach, l'entraîneur-chef, Mr. Bob Johnson. The assistant coaches, les entraîneurs adjoints, Mr. Ted Saylor and Mr. Doug Wolf. Et maintenant, pour l'équipe Canada, and now for Team Canada. In goals, dans les filets, number 31, le numéro 31, Grant Fuhr. En défense, à la défense, number 4, numéro 4, Craig Artsberg. Number 5, numéro 5, Normand Rochefort. At center, au centre, number 11, numéro 11, Mark Messier. At left wing, à l'aile gauche, le numéro 22, number 22, Rick Tuckett. Right wing à l'aile droite, number 32, numéro 32, Claude Lemieux. The head coach, l'entraîneur-chef, Mr. Mike Keenan. The assistant coaches, les entraîneurs adjoints, Jean Perron, John Butler, and Tom Watt. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing, first of all, I would like to ask the two captains, as it is the custom in international hockey, to come to center ice and exchange gifts on behalf of their teams. Les deux capitaines au centre de la glace pour l'échange traditionnel dans les matchs internationaux. And now, introducing the members of the official party for tonight's ceremonial face-off. Pour la mise au jeu officielle, nous allons maintenant vous présenter quelques personnalités. Canadian Tire is a proud supporter of sports for people of all ages in communities across Canada. From the Canadian Amateur Hockey Association to the Calgary 1988 Olympic Winter Games. Representing the grassroots of hockey, représentant le hockey mineur de l'Ontario, from the Ontario Minor Hockey Association, let's welcome Aaron Oates. Representing the Canadian Olympic teams, représentant les équipes olympiques canadiennes, the Olympic gold medalist in speed skating and 4 times Canadian Olympian, médaille d'or aux Olympiques et 4 fois membre de l'équipe olympique canadienne, Gaëtan Boucher. Representing one of our sponsors, Canadian Tires, is Mr. John Sherving, a Canadian Tire dealer. Représentant un de nos commanditaires, Canadian Tire. Representing the sponsors of the Labatt Canada Cup, représentant le commanditaire, la brasserie Labatt, pour la Coupe Canada, Mr. Jim Steele, District Sales Manager, Ontario Breweries, Labatt Limited. I would like again to ask the two captains to come to center ice for the official face-off. Les deux capitaines, encore une fois, s'il vous plaît, pour la mise au jeu officielle. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the singing of the national anthems of the United States and Canada. Mesdames et messieurs, voulez-vous vous lever pour l'hymne national des États-Unis et du Canada? To sing the anthems tonight, Mr. Michael Burgess.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons command, car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
This is the Labatt Canada Cup.
There's no sign of life, it's just a part of charm. I'm lying in the rain, they always wave goodbye. But I try. Whoa. Now I'm gonna go for hard love, walks beside me. Hard love at my side. Hard love, now I know the choice is mine. The choice is mine, satisfies me. Choice is mine, makes me party. Choice is mine, puts my toes in my hand. Modern love, modern love.
Two undefeated teams about to meet here tonight. The United States, they will be shooting against the goaltender many regard as the best in the business, Grant Pure from the Edmonton Oilers.
And the United States lineup not dressed for the United States. Joey Mullen, he'll be missed. He has a tender knee. Defenseman Dave Ellett also not dressed tonight. all NHLers except Olympian Corey Miller.
And Grant Pure from Edmonton playing in his third consecutive game in this series, the '87 Canada Cup. And the other end from the New York Rangers, John Van Beesbrook, and the Canadian team that will be shooting against the Ranger goaltender.
And a power-laden Team Canada that now includes Glenn Anderson. He'll be playing for the first time in the tournament. Doug Gilmour is out along with defenseman James Patrick. The backup goaltender is Ron Hextall. So that means that Kelly Rudy won't be dressed for tonight's game.
The referee is from Finland, Carl Gustav Taisala. Kevin Collins of the United States and John D'Amico of Canada, the linesmen, were underway. And Kevin Hatcher, number 4 for Team USA, flips it in. Pure trying to knock it away from the forechecker. Cleared it on the boards. Ron Langway held it in. His shot is blocked. Now taken by Joe Olato. Centering pass. Knocked away, but held in by Ed Olczyk for Team USA. Over to get it, Rochefort. He's knocked down. And we're going to get a penalty here against Team USA here in the first minute. As in there forechecking too aggressively was Bob Carpenter, number 21. Now, of course, of the Los Angeles Kings in an early power play for Canada.
Now, Bobby Carpenter getting into the game very early. There is Carl Gustav Taisala. You don't know whether he's going to call it tight or not. They sometimes let the North American teams go at it. Here it is. That's just a caller on Craig Hartsburg. So Carpenter is in the penalty box.
They'd call that in any league.
Oh, yeah.
A roughing penalty after just 23 seconds. And Canada will send out its power play alignment. Messier is out there. Gretzky is there. So is Mario Lemieux. Bob Johnson, the United States coach, former coach of the Calgary Flames. Here's Bob Brook out against Messier. The point men, by the way, are Hartsburg and Coffey. Shot in by Mike Ramsey for Team USA. Back to get it and carrying out as Hartsburg beats Messier. He fired it in. Van Beesbrook leaves it for Chelios, and he cleared it by Coffey, and Canada will have to retreat, but not as deeply as they might have as the puck hit the linesman. Back comes Hartsburg, number 4. He's tied up. Messier now tying play up, and Chelios with Kelly Miller clear it out of there for the United States. A minute and a half left in the penalty. Number 77, Paul Coffey. Hitting Mario Lemieux. Lemieux taken out of the play on a good defensive play by Mike Ramsey, and then it's shot away. Now here's Gretzky. Teams changing on the fly. Gretzky, number 99, centering it. Cleared, held in by Hartsburg. Shoots, and Beesbrook got a stick on that. Here's Lemieux to Coffey. To Hartsburg. Shooting, whacking it wide, and fanning on it is Gretzky. Gretzky still with the puck. Puts it in front. Shot away by Kevin Hatcher.
Well, great chance for Hartsburg, and then another good opportunity as he got the puck back, but a bouncing puck that hopped over Gretzky's stick.
Here's Coffey. Has Dineen with him. Drops it back to Brian Propp. Shoots right on. Van Beesbrook sprawling save. And Team USA cleared on the boards. Held in, but now Bob Brook, number 13, shoots it away, and Ray Bourque has to go back and get it. 26 seconds left in the penalty. Here's Ray Bourque from the Boston Bruins for Team Canada. To Propp. Shot it in. Loose puck. Dineen gets it. Couldn't get a shot off. Now Dineen back on the point over to Murphy. In on the wing to Propp. Back to Murphy again. To Propp. Shot deflected. Now Howardchuk trying to shot. Housley blocked that. Here's Propp. Into Howardchuk. Howardchuk gets it in front. Penalized player comes back on. And Phil Housley, number 6, feeds it to Carpenter, who's fresh out of the penalty box. Carpenter's drive is high and wide. Bounced in front and Pure had to scoop it up and held on to it. This is the Labatt Canada Cup.
What makes the Formula One World Champion such a great race car? Computer-programmed fuel injection. Dual overhead cams. 4 valves per cylinder. What makes this such a great street car? Exactly the same technology. The Acura Integra. One of Car and Driver's 10 best, exclusively at your Acura dealer.
Well, Mike Keane Keenan has got to be happy with what he's seen so far, albeit it was a power play, but some excellent tempo, and I think the best tempo, if you like to use that word, and coaches seem to like to use it a lot, early in the game that Canada has shown so far in this tournament. To take a game against their peers, as it were, from the United States to bring out the best in a Team Canada.
And I think a big crowd here at the Cops Coliseum will add to both of these teams' play here tonight, Ron.
This game is a sellout here in Hamilton. So from a 4,000 crowd of the other night, suddenly the Canada Cup, as it usually does, is beginning to pick up momentum.
Face-off is going to be deep in Team Canada's end of the rink. By the way, in 4 exhibition or pre-tournament games, Canada won all 4, including their last meeting, 11-2. And a lot of people wonder if that United States 11-2 shellacking may show up here tonight and fire up the United States team.
Well, there were a couple of very close games. There was a shutout registered by Kelly Rudy in Montreal, a very close game in which Patrick Roy, the Canadiens goaltender, performed very well in Ottawa. So they all weren't lopsided. There was just the one lopsided game. So we look at Rick Tocchet playing in his first Canada Cup and playing very well and very consistently. Maybe the most consistent forward, he and Claude Lemieux. Youngster from the Flyers, former soccer player with the Toronto Blizzard.
Tocchet is out there on a line with Gretzky and Michel Goulet. As Canada has made some line changes for this game. Here's Chris Chelios losing it to Gretzky. Centered it in front, and it's knocked away by the United States, and now carried by Presley and shot into center ice. Picking it up there, Pat LaFontaine, but Coffey checked him. Coffey right in front of his own goal, gives it to Gretzky. Now to Goulet. Chelios is there defensively, number 24 for Team USA. Loses it. Now Goulet trying to center, and Kelly Miller intercepts for the United States. Miller, number 11. Moving in, shoots one, Fuhr the save, and with Suter cruising near the net, he held on to it for a faceoff.
The Labatt player of the game for the United States will receive a set of 10 Olympic coins, compliments of Canadian Tire, an official supplier to the Calgary 1988 Olympic Winter Games, and a few dreams along the way. Canadian Tire.
Faceoff is going to be deep in Team Canada's end of the rink. No score. We have 16:43 left in the first period.
Some close calls early in this game. You know, you look at the history of Canada versus the United States in World Tournament play and in the Canada Cup, and they're famous, no matter what the quality of the teams are, famous for being very hard-hitting, tough kinds of hockey games. I've seen some real barn burners in Europe when these two teams have met over on the other side of the ocean.
We'll see more of the North American variety of hockey tonight.
Even when they play on that big ice surface overseas. There's a guy who has seen an awful lot of international hockey over the years and loves it. He's going to see a lot more in his new position as the head of what they call Hockey USA now, the American Hockey Association of the United States.
Face-off, Bob Brook against Brent Sutter. Puck went near the Team Canada goal. Now Howard Chuck taken out of the play, and there forechecking very hard is Kurt Fraser. Canada tried to clear it out. Langway held it in. Rod Langway's shot knocked down by Bork. And Bork feeds it out of there, and Canada come to center ice. Here comes Larry Murphy. Murphy moving in, knocked off the puck by Fraser with a good clean check to Chris Nyland. But hustling back is Bork. And it's shot into the center ice area. Here's Murphy taking Brent Sutter's pass, shoots it in. Van Beesbrook cleared it. Hatcher knocking it on the boards, and Chris Nyland, number 30, from the Montreal Canadiens, bumped by Sutter. Now Hatcher goes back. And Hatcher cleared it and cleared it right up over into the Team USA bench. This is the Labatt Canada Cup.
1969, the Aishau Valley. The Screaming Eagles of the 101st Airborne Division were engaged in the bloodiest battle of the Vietnam War.
I'm gonna save your life and you're gonna save mine.
It wasn't a battle like you see in the movies.
They're fighting our own people! Hold it up!
It really happened.
It don't mean nothing! It don't mean nothing!
Hamburger Hill, a true story.
Now playing at a selected theater near you. Check your local listings.
Well, there's the always controversial Chris Nyland. There's no question about his involvement in a hockey game. During the 1984 Canada Cup, he was not involved because of an injury, but he was involved in extracurricular kind of thing. He got in a fight with Rick Vive in a corridor during the training camp.
He's out of Boston and a member of the Montreal Canadiens, and as tough as they come. Here's Hartsburg for Team Canada as now Rochefort cleared it, and Glenn Anderson circles back number 9. Anderson's first action of this 87 Canada Cup. Now Gartner feeding at Rochefort, who cleared it in. Shot out of there by the United States, held in by Gartner. Gartner in front. Fanning on it was Anderson. And now the United States with Olchek beating Bob Carpenter. Too far for him. Fuhr knocking it away. Puck in the corner. Carpenter battling with Hartsburg. They got their sticks up, and Gartner drops it back of the net to Messier. He fires it out. Messier on a line with Gartner and Glenn Anderson. Back to get it in the United States zone is Ramsey. Shot it into center ice as teams were changing. And then play is called. And we'll get a stoppage.
I'm sorry, Dan. Glenn Anderson making his first appearance for Team Canada. He was hit by Scott Stevens during training camp and suffered what they call a stretched ligament in his knee, and has missed the first 3 games. We're just making his first appearance now here in the tournament.
This program is protected by copyright. Any use of this telecast without permission is prohibited. Mario Lemieux out on a face-off, winning the draw, but Bob Brook comes up with it, and Chelios then flips it to center. So Brook is one of the centers that Bob Johnson wants out there to check some of the big Team Canada centers. Brook out there now against Lemieux. Here's Murphy beating one to Prop, knocked away from him. Now Murphy gets it again. Shot it in, and Nyland. Now it's picked up by Lemieux, and breaking out is Fraser on right wing. Fraser trying to get it to Nyland. Bork knocks it away, and Barry Lemieux takes over. Over to Murphy. Larry Murphy, number 8, flips it in. Chelios back to get it. Whacks it up on the boards. Picked up by Nyland. Nyland breaks out on right wing, has Fraser with him. Here's Chris Nyland to Kurt Fraser. Shooting, saved by Fuhr, his toughest of the game, and Murphy cleared it to Lemieux at center, but he's well taken out by Gary Suter. Back comes Chelios. Shoots one. Fuhr is saved. Cleared it away to Bork. Now to Kevin Dineen, number 14. Dineen gets it into center ice. Crossman was checked there, and it's shot back into center ice. That's a 2-line offside as Mark Johnson took Rod Langway's pass.
Well, the Team Canada and also the United States settling down into a checking pattern here. The shots are not from very close in, but certainly there's not much doubt about the way the teams are involved in this one. As you mentioned, Dan, this was the best save that Grant Fuhr has had to come up with a shot that seemed to, as he faded away a little bit, Chelios let it go, and a low shot that seemed to get Fuhr going a little bit the wrong way on it. Still made the save.
Back to the live action. This is Paul Coffey back in Team Canada zone to get a loose puck. Firing it out on right wing. Goulet taken up. Gretzky hustling in after it. Gretzky gets it. Looking to center. Gets the late man Coffey. Shot blocked by Langway. And back comes Mark Johnson against Crossman, and it rolled off Johnson's stick, and Crossman was there to make the play. Langway going back. He made a big block of a shot moments ago. His pass to Mark Johnson. Now to Corey Millen. Chipped in by Aaron Broughton, number 10. And going back and picking it up is Hartsburg for Canada. Hartsburg doing some nifty stick handling. Fires it in. Ramsey back for the United States. Mike Ramsey from the Buffalo Sabres speeding it out. Picked up on the fly by Housley. Housley leaving it for LaFontaine, and a stick save by Fuhr. Now Kelly Miller trying to center. Given a rough ride by Gartner, who cleared it into center ice. Dumped back into Norman Rochefort. Number 5 back to get it for Canada. Rochefort trying to hit Messier. It goes the length of the ice. And as Mike Ramsey goes back to touch it, icing called against Team Canada. This is the Labatt Canada Cup.
There's heart in this land. It's there in all you do. It's time to call for the blue.
Two recent scoring chances have been for the United States. First Chelios, and then this nifty little drop pass. Housley for LaFontaine. He's got a great shot and an ability to score. That one did not get by goaltender Grant Fuhr.
Face-off won by the United States. Chelios shooting just wide. Now Suter at the other point poking it in. And Rochefort is there to clear it to Howardchuk. Dale Howardchuk from the Winnipeg Jets to Claude Lemieux. There's Lemieux, number 32, with a shot, and Van Beesbrook handles that. And then it's cleared into center ice by the United States. Carpenter just backhanding it down. Hartsburg going back to get it. No score. We're approaching the 8-minute mark here in the first period. Shot out onto the wing, and Canada pick it up. Howardchuk flipping it in. Now they center to Lemieux, backhander. Now Brent Sutter behind the net to Howardchuk. Off his skate and then diving out. Van Beesbrook to grab it, and then Claude Lemieux and Chelios push at each other. Hey, they're teammates with the Montreal Canadiens.
That'll never bother either one of them, I'll tell you that right now. This is a hockey game, and they're wearing different uniforms. Sutter out in front, Howardchuk jamming the net. That's something we haven't seen enough of from Team Canada or many of the teams involved in this tournament. And there is Claude Lemieux. As we mentioned, there's no quarter asked or given. Look at, he's talking to Nyland. And I'll get you next time. Nyland, of course, had some problems, or Team Canada had some problems with Nyland. There was a game in Montreal in which Nyland tried at least twice during the game to provoke a fight with Rick Tocchet. Tocchet turned his back at one point and skated off the ice because of the edict that was given by Mike Keenan and his coaching staff that any fighting will seriously damage your possibility of making the team. Then the next game out, Wendell Clark did get in a fight with Chris Nyland, and although it was never admitted, I'm sure that entered into the thinking when finally Wendell Clark was cut from this team.
Here's Bourque from the point with a shot wide of the net. A good hard low shot, but off the target. Fraser clears it to center. No score as Canada flip it in. Hatcher there to try and knock it out. Messier had it for a moment, and now Langway leading a 4-man rush, beats Fraser. Kurt Fraser's long shot. Here comes Nyland and Gartner battling for it, and Bourque breaks back for Canada. Bourque has Gartner with him. Trailing on the play, Messier. Now fired in by Bourque. Shot around on the boards, and nobody there to hold it in, and Murphy has to chase back for Canada. Over to Bourque. Fired in. Van Beesbrook leaves it for Mike Ramsey. Ramsey to Fraser, number 8 for the United States, to Bill Housley. Housley moving in, shoots off the blocker of Pure and up into the glass, and then knocked behind the net. Taking over is Doug Crossman. To Gartner. Gartner into Crossman. Crossman put it through the crease. Nobody there. Prop shoots one. That's high off the glass and bounces all the way back into Team Canada zone. Mike Gartner hustles back. Cleared it to center. This game going at quite a pace. Mark Johnson takes a hit, drops it to Ramsey. Now to Housley, to Aaron Broughton. Broughton flips it in. Crossman back for Canada. Housley holding it in. Or Ramsey it was that held it in, and now Prop drops it back of the net, and Canada start out of there. Long pass to Deneen at center. That's intercepted by Presley. Now Mario Lemieux dropping it to Crossman. Over to Coffey. Back to Crossman. Into center ice. Dumped in by Prop. Here's Mario Lemieux centering one. Knocked away at the United States defense as Suter cleared it away in a hurry. And Suter takes a run and knocks Deneen flying. And Deneen gets up slowly. Back comes Presley. He got it into the zone. Now Chelios is there. Deneen, by the way, goes very slowly to the Team Canada bench. He's been shaken up on that check by Suter. Now the hitting getting rather ferocious as Miller was bumped. Here's Suter. Now Hartsburg knocks it away. Stolen. LaFontaine. Shoots. He scores! Pat LaFontaine. And the United States takes the lead.
And while all this is going on and the celebration is on for the United States, Kevin Deneen is being helped to the dressing room. Let's take a look at it. The steal by Suter. LaFontaine. Good wrist shot. Not much Pure can do at all. Puck is is hooked free there. Number 20, Gary Suter. And here comes LaFontaine hopping on the loose puck. Good goal. A lot of work, a lot of effort by the USA pays off.
That's LaFontaine's third goal of this Canada Cup. He was a 38-goal man last year with the New York Islanders. LaFontaine from St. Louis, Missouri, but grew up in Detroit. And it's 1-0 for Team USA. Now Eddie Olczyk firing it in. Back to get it is Bourque for Canada. Bourque firing the long one in. Digging in now is Rick Tocchet. Tocchet taken out by Langway and Hatcher. Works it to Aaron Broughton. Flipped into center, and Larry Murphy has it for the United States. Murphy giving it to Bourque. Canada is fallen behind here on the goal by LaFontaine. Here's Rick Tocchet. Flips it in. Van Beesbrook plays the puck, then fires it up on the boards. Broughton couldn't get it. Here's Bourque. Centered, deflected. Van Beesbrook to save as Goulet deflected it, then had a whack on it. Play is called, and then Langway and Tocchet almost get into it. Told you this would be North American type hockey. This is the Labatt Canada Cup.
Ever wonder how stores determine their prices? Department stores use a formula based on profit margin. Discount stores base theirs on turning over an inventory. How does Zellers determine their prices? Zellers made you a promise to have the lowest prices in Canada. We've introduced Club Z, and our prices are still the lowest. Some things just aren't meant to change. After all, the lowest price is always a Zellers price, and always will be.
Well, some great action in front of the net that got a little more vigorous than I think the coaches wanted. Here's the shot by Bourque coming in now, bouncing puck. Now watch as Tocchet jams it. Now Tocchet moving in, and he threw an elbow at Langway. Langway then took it across the side of the neck, and that's what started all the pushing and shoving. Meanwhile, Van Beesbrook managed to make the save. However, a little earlier, before the goal, as we see Langway worked on that's where he took the stick across the side of his neck, and he's just getting that checked. All right, now here's what happened to Kevin Dineen. Suter is the one that ran into him, and watch the leg. It seemed to double back as he went into the corner on a good, clean hit by Suter, who had a good shift because he caused the turnover in the other end of the ice as well. But look at the problems that Kevin Dineen is having now getting to the bench. And when he got to that bench, he was really in trouble, and he had to be helped to the dressing room area. And just as he got to the gate, somebody skated by and gave him a whack as the gate opened. Here it is, just backed right into him. So that's just a rough ride all the way around for Kevin Dineen.
Minor penalties to Langway for high sticking, to Tocchet for roughing. Langway, by the way, has been cut, and he's over at the Team USA bench and is going to have to return to the dressing room for some stitches.
Watch this jam, and here's Langway. Now there's the shot he took. Now he pushes back. He gets the crack across the side of the head, and reaction kind. And I think that the calls made by Carl Gustav Kaisla of Finland were perfectly legitimate. And Bob Johnson, I don't know what his complaint is now, except I guess there's an injury caused. There is not a rule for drawing blood in hockey, but there is a rule for creating injury in the process of committing a foul. But there were two fouls there, and both of them were called.
By the way, all penalties are served in international hockey. They don't use the coincidental minor penalty rule as they do in the NHL, so each team will be a man short here. Kaisla getting some words from veteran linesman John D'Amico. Kaisla is from Finland, by the way.
While we're waiting for this to get underway here, let's take a look at it again. Van Beesbrook's the guy right in the middle of it. Here's the shot across the ear. That's where he got cut, across the ear. That hurts. It rings a couple of bells, too. And Rick Tocchet involved. You knew this was going to happen. This generally happens when these two teams meet. And you may not see it the rest of the tournament, as discipline seems to go to the 4 wins when North Americans meet North Americans, but then they settle down when they have to play the European team.
The other thing to remember is if you fight in this competition, you get thrown out of the game and you're suspended for the next one. So both these teams would have to be cautious because they each have big games coming up. Here's Gretzky in behind the net for Prop. Back to Gretzky. He's tied up on the play by Housley. Gretzky gets free, centered, bouncing puck, and unable to handle it was Prop in front of the net. Here's big Joe Olato, number 29, in with Carpenter. Pass to Carpenter. Coffey took the man and got the puck and then cleared it to Gretzky. Misses him. Mike Ramsey going back, but Van Beesbrook plays it. Shot on the boards. Carpenter couldn't get it out, and now racing over is Ramsey, but he lets Otto take over. To Mike Ramsey. 2-on-2 break. Ramsey with Carpenter. Ramsey tied up by Coffey. Shoots from a bad angle. Fuhr makes the save and gives it to Coffey, number 77. Each team a man short. Coffey to Gretzky. Lead pass to Glenn Anderson. Suter took him out. Now it's shot in by Crossman. And Chelios is back for Team USA. Chelios moving it to Kelly Miller. Miller gets away from Anderson. Now shot it to the line. Murphy knocks it down. Murphy loses to Bob Brook. Now Murphy gets it back again. Drops it to Bork. United States doing an excellent checking job at this point as they're completely bottling Canada up. Here's Brook. Drops it back. Shot by Miller into center ice, and here's Chelios. Into Suter. Suter shoots right on. Fuhr to his knees to make the save. And then hold on to it for a faceoff. This is the Labatt Canada Cup.
You might see this as a quiet drive in the country, but there's another way to look at it. As 3,000 pounds of steel and glass hurtling down the highway. That's how Canadian Tire sees your car when we install brakes. For over 65 years, we've trained our technicians to be the best. That's why we guarantee your brakes for as long as you own your car. Because to us, the most important parts of any drive are the stops along the way. The right choice for auto service has never been so clear. Canadian Tire.
With Ron Roos, Dan Matheson, and Brad Clark, I'm Dan Kelly. It's 1-0 for Team USA. 6:54 left in the first period.
Well, at the outset of the telecast, Mike Keenan mentioned that one of the things that the USA has been doing in its games is bottling up the center ice zone. Well, you're seeing a lot of that in this game so far.
Hatcher with a shot that's wide. Here's Housley. Flipping it in. Norman Rochefort is there. He's tied up by Aaron Broughton, and now Gartner for Canada. Mike Gartner. Over to the defenseman Hartsburg. He got it to center. Shot right back by Hatcher, but now Rochefort tried, and here comes Mark Johnson. Check from behind by Lemieux. Mario Lemieux, number 66. Moves in, chopped at by Hatcher, and lost it, and Housley to Olchek. Olchek out of the penalty box after serving Langway's penalty. He gets knocked down, and back to get it is Rochefort to Gartner. Team's back at full strength. Gartner trying to feed one up on the wing to Prop. Brian Prop centers it. Now Gartner to Lemieux. Couldn't get it in front, and Miller, number 11, for Team USA, feeds Gary Suter. Now to Chelios. Chelios dropping it back. Presley shot. Hit LaFontaine, deflected wide. LaFontaine centered. Presley fanned on it. Now Kelly Miller a shot. LaFontaine a backhander that Fuhr had to stop. Here's Suter at the point. He shot it wide. Miller over to pick it up. Crossman ties him up. In comes Mario Lemieux. Shot out into center ice by Canada. The United States taking it right to Canada at this point. They're leading 1-0 and outplaying them. Here's Suter shooting it down the ice. Digging in is Presley, and that's going to be called back